Yes. Yeah, our food really affects us tremendously. For those who don't know me, I'm Elizabeth Bradshaw. Let's see, I'm basically from Corpus all my life. I met my husband here, and he was born here, so he was born and raised here. And so, let's see. If I told you that I knew the secret to live a happier, healthier, more productive way of life, you would probably want to hear more about it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm here to do, is to give you all this great information that I've acquired over 25 years. So it's really great because every year you learn something new, and there's so many changes throughout. You know, new studies, new research, things that we thought were healthy aren't so great for us. And so, for me, I started my health and fitness journey, wow, over 20 years ago, before I met my husband. So a lot of people will say, oh, you're so lucky, you have someone to motivate you. And I said, no. You have to find the motivation within you. You can be inspired by others, but nobody can push you to do something you don't want to do. And so I actually met my husband at the gym. That's where I met him. So I had to start my fitness journey, wow, like at 3 in the morning. At the time, I was living with a family member, and she had a family. She was a doctor, her husband was an engineer. And so my only time for me was like to get up at 3 a.m. before the kids got up, because I had to get those kids to school, and I had to go to school too. So I had to get that out of the way. And I was fortunate, I happened to have joined a local gym. And the way that happened is I went to the kids' fair, and we got the tickets and put it in the little, get a free week's membership trial, you know, and I got one. And I had already kind of started working out because I took some classes at Del Mar, some weight training classes, and they were fun, I liked them. And I had never done anything athletic all my life, never. Super shy, you know, scared to be in public and do anything like that. It was daunting. So that's where I started, and over 25 years, I've just learned so much from my husband, Phil, from friends, fellow trainers, you know, teachers. And so I first started competing in 2013. That was my very first show here at the Battle of the Bay. And so a friend called me up and said, hey, there's a show in like 8 weeks. I said, 8 weeks? You're kidding me. But see, the thing is that I liked staying in shape. So I stayed in good shape, and within 8 weeks, I was on stage. And so now, I met my husband in 2000, but I didn't compete till 2013. So what we did is we trained and built a foundation. A lot of people will say, well, how long did it take you to look like that? So if I tell them that they're discouraged because they're like, oh God, I gotta work out for 20-something years to look like you. Well, everybody's different. Everybody's gains are different. Now, if you eat properly, then you'll have better, faster gains. But if you're constantly cheating and you're binging all day, well, then your progress is slower. So now, and then in 2015, I earned my pro card. But I changed. I first started in Vigor and then switched to my women's physique division that I've stayed in, got my pro card. So it took a while. And the thing is that it's important, anytime you train, you're eating, surround yourself with a great, supportive team. And that's one thing I love, because Aaron and Andrew and everybody that they know here, their family, their friends, so you have a great support team. Everybody helps each other. And that's the most important thing, because you may have some friends, and they're great friends, but as soon as you start your fitness journey or eating right, they want to tempt you. Let's go out to eat.
Don't forget his mom and sister.
Mom, sister, sometimes, oh yes, his mom and his sister, they're all here, yes. And so sometimes you'll have a friend who says, let's go drink some beers. And you're like, man, I just worked out. And you're like, come on, let's go have some beers. And you're like, no, well, one beer is not gonna hurt you. Or you go out, let's go eat some Mexican food. And you know, you're like, man, I'm trying to eat good. Or let's have that donut. But the thing is, see, they want to eat it and they don't want to feel guilty. So they try to get you to join in. Now they don't feel bad. But see, now try to get them to change and do what you want to do, and they're like, oh, I don't want to eat that. That salad looks so plain. You know, they think that that's boring. It's not going to taste good eating healthy. But There's so many things. I've changed recipes. I'll find a regular recipe and I'll change the ingredients completely and make it healthy. And it tastes good. So, and I'll play with the different ingredients and change them. If it doesn't taste good, sometimes it doesn't, change it for something else. I'll follow people and I'll get some good recipes as well. So, one of the things that, that helps is if you're passionate about it. If you don't like working out, that's okay. I know some people that don't. But think about also being healthy. If you have children, you want to live long for your children. You know, you influence your parents as well. A lot of times, y'all work out, you have your children, right? They come work out with you a lot of times. They see what you do, and they want to do the same thing. So if you're hanging out at the bars, what's going to happen? Your kids are going to be at the bars. If you're hanging out at the gym, they're going to want to be at the gym. So they want to be like mom and dad. And that's where it's important for some of your friends. If they just can't find a reason, tell them, what about your kids, your longevity? You know, you can have all the money in the world, but so many people, they have all the money, and they give it right back when they're on their deathbed because it can't cure them. You can't take it with you either. So it's more important to have that quality of life. And you just think about it. I tell people, if we look at food, is it going to do good for me? Is it going to be something healthy to nourish me? Instead of just, oh, it just tastes good, you know? Like we introduce our children to birthday cake their first year, you're all excited for them to have that sugar. And then later you're like, well, how come now he wants to eat his junk food? Who's buying it? You know, it's like if you don't buy it, it's not there. If you want to get started on being healthy, throw out all the junk. Start fresh. And then you don't have that in your house where you're tempted. You know, those are some of the important things. So you got to have balance. You got to have your training programs. And here at AllGood, there's Aaron, there's Andrew, there's Tim. I don't think Tim's here. But there's trainers that can help guide you, ask questions. And so they can set up a great program for them, for all of you. So they can have a real sport-specific workout plan for you. And then with proper nutrition, you know, they know how to help you lose that body fat, gain some muscle. The more muscle you have, the more body fat you burn. You know, so, and then women, we start losing muscle density after our 30s. We start losing muscle mass, and by weight training, you can gain that muscle density. And that muscle density is attached to your bones, so your bones have to carry them. So your bones are also getting stronger. So it goes hand in hand. Rest is so important. So they'll help you, you know, with this structured workout, whether it's 3-4 times a week, something pretty reasonable. You got to have some weekends to have some fun sometimes. Or if you work out on the weekends and you have a few days during the week to rest. And your recovery is just so important to have that sleep. So a lot of times some of the foods that you eat, you'll lose sleep because they're not really affecting you in a positive way. They're negatively impacting your sleep. So a lot of restless nights. And so you got to figure out accountability. What is your why? And that support team, like I said, super important. Sometimes you'll end up losing friends because of that, because they have a different goal in life and they have different things that they like to do than you. Now you're focused on your health and your well-being, longevity. Super important. Consistency. You got to be consistent to see those changes. So one of the mottos I like to use is to believe, pursue, and conquer. Because you got to believe in yourself in order for you to pursue a goal, right? And then you pursue that goal. Once you pursue it, you can conquer it. I tell people you can, but you got to pursue it to begin with in order to accomplish that goal. So what are the 4 components of a balanced meal? Well, you got your proteins, your fat, your carbs, and your fiber. And so a lot of proteins, people used to think that the whole egg raised your cholesterol levels. The yolk was bad for you, and they kept going back and forth. It's good, it's bad, it's good. It's a balanced product. So your pastured eggs, that's a thing. It's hard to get free-range eggs or, God, we had a shortage here shortly, didn't we? But the whole egg, your lean chicken, your turkey, grass-fed beef, pretty important, your grass-fed beef. And now your wild-caught fish, if you notice, a lot of people don't notice. They go buy fish at the market, they're at the grocery store at H-E-B, and they'll just pick salmon, and it's farm-raised. And I learned farm-raised is not really what I want. And the reason is they're all stuck together in a small area. They're all eating their own feces. So what do? They feed it antibiotics. Antibiotics are so bad for our gut. And how many times do we get sick and they prescribe an antibiotic? And sometimes you're sick again and they give you another one, and that tears up your gut. So too many antibiotics are so bad for you. So then a lot of the foods don't agree with you either, because now you've got a disrupted gut. So wild caught, sure, you pay a little bit more, but it's worth it. If it's going to have a better impact on you, it's definitely worth it. Collagen powders. Collagen powders are really good for you. And then number 2, your fats. There's so many oils out there. Which ones are good for you? Stuff that I thought was good, I learned it's not. Because some oils cause a lot of inflammation in the body, in the gut. So a lot of illnesses come from the inflammation. So the best oils are extra virgin olive oil, and I use that for salad dressings. I do not buy salad dressing anymore. If you read the label, how many ingredients are there? And you can't even pronounce them, right? And like a lot of people say, oh, I love ranch. I can't eat ranch for the life of me. If I eat that, it's like here. I can't eat the rest of the day because there's something in it, so many chemicals, my stomach doesn't digest it, or I'll burp it all day. That's a sign of something that didn't agree with you if you're burping all day. Bloating, gas, all of that. So the ones that are better are ghee, spelled G-H-E-E. It's a clarified butter from a grass-fed cow. That's where it's derived from. And it's a butter. You can buy it in a lot of places. And that one has a higher temperature level. So when you cook with it, like what I like to do, if you want to have French fries, you're like, man, I really want to have some French fries, but man, they're real high in fat. What I do is I'll slice them up, the potatoes or sweet potatoes, into French fry-like, or you can have a chopper nowadays, and I'll lightly coat like an iron skillet, and I'll put them on there, and they get crispier. Or now you have an air fryer. Either one. So it's a different, coconut oil is very gut friendly. So coconut oils, a lot of people put it in their coffee instead of cream. They'll put a little bit because of the MCT oils that it contains. So coconut oil, really good, you can use so much. So instead of the salad dressings, what I started doing is the extra virgin olive oil. I'll put it in my little food processor with fresh basil. If you love fresh basil, or maybe you like mint, maybe you like a different herb. So I'll chop it up in there and process it with some fresh garlic. So now I just made instant salad dressing, and I'll drizzle a little bit of that on my salad instead. And it just tastes better and it fills you up. I even, sometimes I'll make and I'll get into later, a healthier bread. If I make a sandwich, I put a little bit on the side with some other ingredients. I like horseradish is really good. Maybe a little bit of fresh jam or something, you know, something a little healthier. But it just makes it a little bit better. Let me see here. Also, avocados and nuts are really great fats. So those are, let me see. How many of you use Pam? Pam. Does it say like fat-free or low-fat or something on there? Is it meant to, do people think it's like a low-fat thing to use Pam? Well, now if you read the back, it's like a tiny little spray, you know, that is that little bit of calories. And I think it has, and what do? You spray a whole bunch. And so it's loaded in calories once you've done that.
For the pan.
Yeah, once you've done that. And so, and it actually has canola oils and a lot of stuff in it. So it's really not healthy, it's more inflammatory.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the coconut oil, you can cook, it has a different flavor. The ghee, the extra virgin olive oil, but the ghee is like more for a high temperature. So the other ones, sometimes if you cook them a little too high, they do burn, it kind of changes the flavor.
And the ghee is what?
It's a clarified butter made from the grass-fed. Yeah, it's made from grass-fed cows, which is more healthy.
It's
Macadamia nut?
It's hard to find, but if
Yes.
you find it, very high essential fat that has a high smoke rate.
Yes. The macadamia nut oil. And that's another thing that macadamia nuts, too, are healthier for you. So So the PEM is loaded in calories, and soy lecithin is phytoestrogenic, like soy sauce, soybeans, all that stuff is phytoestrogenic. So now carbs, the third component of a balanced meal are carbs. Sweet potatoes, squash, buckwheat. A lot of people don't use buckwheat. And I like to make, like, instead of making oatmeal, some people cannot eat oatmeal. Some people, I switched from regular oatmeal because of the glycemic index, and it would cause cramps, stomach cramps. So, what is it? Steel cut oats, because it's not as refined as oatmeal. They processed it down. So sometimes for some people that's gut friendlier. Some people can't tolerate oatmeal. I've switched to either buckwheat, and you can find buckwheat cereal a lot of times like at natural grocers. You can order it on Amazon. I'll use it also buckwheat flour. I'll make pancakes out of it. If you want pancakes, you can still have pancakes. Just instead of white flour, switch to something healthier. Just like some, you know, we use oatmeal. You can do the same thing. Let's see, I'll bake with it. I've made muffins with it. Basmati rice, I really like rice. Now, rice is supposed to be, is thought of as a complex, but it's really a simple carb because it doesn't have the fiber. But still, for us, a lot of times you need that little spike. You're gonna work out or post-workout, you wanna have some rice, it's really great. Quinoa is also really great carb, and some beans and legumes. Some people can't eat regular beans, but black beans are a lot healthier. So you have a lot of choices. And then number 4, you want to have your fiber. Leafy greens, organic vegetables, some seasonal fruits. Chia seeds and flax seeds are great. Those are super great. You can add those in any of your breakfast, you know, your breakfast flavor. You're having your oatmeal or your buckwheat, or some people have cream of rice. You can put some of that in there too, your protein shakes. So all of these will fulfill your nutritional needs. Plus, they regulate your blood sugar, so you don't have these spikes, all these sudden highs and lows. And it'll improve your mental function. So the carbs, if you don't have enough carbs, it affects your brain. That's why people are like, what? I forgot this, I forgot that. You can't think straight. So a lot of people go on these crazy low carb diets. You gotta have at least 100 grams a day to have great brain function. So proteins, why are proteins so important? Because they're the building blocks of life, and they make up all of the amino acid chains. So your body needs about 20 different amino acids. So if you look at your protein jugs, it'll list all the amino acids that it contains. So you need about 20 of those to make about hundreds of combinations. And your body makes hundreds of different amino acids except for 9, the 9 essential amino acids. So those have to be consumed through food, or we have them in our protein shakes. And so these include meat, poultry, eggs, your dairy, fish. So they're a complete source. And the 9 essential amino acids are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, all these things that are hard to pronounce. Phenylalanine, you know, tryptophan, valine, 309, 309. So they all play a critical role in our bodies. And so all the work occurs in our cells. So that's why it's so important what you eat. It affects all our cells in our body. So that protein is needed to repair. It'll repair and make new cells. So they're necessary for the function and regulation of our body's tissues and organs. So while we're working out, we're breaking down that muscle tissue. We need it to repair, to build. So sometimes a lot of women, they don't eat a lot of protein. And so they're like, why am I not getting firm? Or why am I so soft? Increase your protein a little bit. You need at least 1 gram per lean muscle mass. And it varies. Some studies will say 1, some will say 1.5, some will say 2. You know, everybody's different. You can kind of play with that and see. And if you have a trainer, somebody who can help you, you know, so it's important. If you're not seeing the results, and increase your protein a little bit. Try to adjust it. Lack of protein can lead to the loss of muscle mass and strength loss. You'll lose strength. So you'll experience difficulty keeping your balance, a slow metabolism. It can lead to anemia and fatigue. And fats are our friends, the good fats. So some people do well with a higher carb in their diet. Some do better with a higher fat. You don't want to have your carbs and your fats the same. So the grams that you have, that you consume per day, you either have higher carbs, depending on your level of activity, or a little bit of a higher fats and lower those carbs. So if you're not seeing a difference in your, losing body fat, adjust that. Your protein always stays the same. It's your carbs or fats you manipulate, change that. And the type that you consume, like I said, are either gut friendly or not. So in our guts, we all have good and bad bacteria. So when you eat the foods that are not healthy, guess what? That bad bacteria flourishes and takes over. That's why you have all the sugar cravings. Because we all have parasites in our body, in our gut. And what do they want? They feed off sugar. And a lot of the carbs, what happens? You put them in your mouth, they're instant sugar. And then if you have too many, my gosh. So a lot of the things that we consume will affect that. So that's why the avocados are rich in potassium. They're 80% fat, but they're packed with antioxidants. I have a great recipe. It's double chocolate muffins made with avocados. So it's avocados, eggs, stevia, gut-friendly sweetener, and a little bit of maple syrup is also. But like everything in moderation. So anything that's even good, you have too much, it can be bad. So all in moderation is the key. And so that, I try to find like friendlier chocolate chips. That's why it's a double chocolate, because it has dark cocoa powder, which has been said if you have dark cocoa chocolate twice a day, say in a coffee or a little chocolate, it's actually good for you. It's healthy. So wild-caught salmon, like we said, trout, mackerel, sardines, herring, they're loaded in omega-3 fatty acids. They're high in quality protein. They're packed with vitamins and minerals. The whole egg has the choline for your brain. It's high in protein, and so is the extra virgin olive oil. Seeds, you've got your pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, and flax seeds. Now nuts are high and healthy in fats and fiber, but there's some nuts that are not a true nut. I thought forever peanuts were a nut. They're a legume. They're in the bean family. That's why a lot of people bake too much peanut butter or peanuts. What happens? Has anybody ever gotten bloated? They're like, man, my stomach's bloated. It's like, wow. Because that's what happens with a lot of peanuts. People just they don't digest them well. So Brazil nuts are great. They're high in selenium. They're great for your thyroid. About 5 or 6 a day. They're perfect. And that's the thing. Nuts are great for you. They're great fat, but they're loaded in calories. So you don't want to sit there and have a whole bag of nuts. In moderation. Like almonds are great for you. About 6, sometimes 6 to 8, 9 a day. Sometimes people like to blend them in a liquid and have them like you can make milk out of it. And that's actually a healthier milk. How many times have you gone to your dairy section and you look at, there's oat milk, there's almond milk, you got coconut milk, and you look at the ingredients and there's all these chemicals. I'm like, wow, what are all these chemicals? And so I have found Thai, the brand Thai, like Thailand, Thai, they have a coconut milk, but they have some that are in cans, and they have guar gum and all these thickening agents. So now you've added a chemical, you've added something else to it. But I have found some at even Walmart in a carton, and the ingredient says water and coconut. Got my vote. So what do? I put that in my coffee. Super healthy. Now you've just added a great fat to your morning coffee. Dr. Gundry, if anybody knows who he is, look him up on Facebook, and he has a whole video on that. Coconut milk is great for you. A lot of people add coffee mate creamer, right? Some people, it just doesn't agree. I just saw a video. They took a lighter and poured coffee mate cream on it. Combustible, flared up in flames, and that's what you're drinking. I'm like, what? It's a fire agent. So instead, I'm like, I think I'll be safer with my coconut oil, my coconut milk. So I like to put that. Sometimes my dessert is frozen blueberries. I love that. That's like our favorite dessert. And then what I'll do is I'll put some of that coconut milk in.